Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to show you guys my laptop collection. Here I have about 11 laptops and one laptop replacement device. And I've done other videos showing my smaller gadgets and devices. I've shown you guys my mobile phones, all my MP3 players, PDAs, that kind of stuff, as well as my UMPCs. So I think it's about time I show you guys my bigger devices. These are pretty much my biggest mobile devices and the ones I use for work and play mostly. I don't use all of them, of course. Let me show you guys why I have so many and what each of them are for. And yeah, I can see here there's a wide variety of these laptops I have here. So let's start off first from the smallest display to the largest. These are all going to be display sizes 10 inches or larger. So we're going to start with the smallest to largest here. Alright, so the smallest one I have right now, this one I had to put on top of another one because there's not enough space. This is my iPad Pro 10.5, and these are all clamshells, so I'm just going to lift each of them as I go along, even this iPad. Here we go. Alright, so the iPad Pro here, this one is used basically as my main portable computer. I know a lot of people say that the iPad Pro doesn't really replace a laptop or anything, and I agree it doesn't. It's not going to replace, iOS is not going to replace a full desktop operating system, but for 90% of the things I do, I think this can do pretty well, like watching movies, playing games. Well, not really, not like full-fledged AAA titles, but you can definitely play games on here. Yeah, reading articles and books, and posting on Facebook, surfing the internet, watching YouTube, movies, listening to music, all that stuff you can do with the iPad Pro pretty well. And this processor is super fast, so it's pretty snappy. And I added this 10.5-inch bridge keyboard to the mix, which makes it look more like a MacBook. So it really does look like a laptop replacement here. And I think when you're traveling abroad and you're bringing like an Ultrabook, you don't intend to do any processor intensive tasks or anything like that, then you're not like programming or setting up virtual machines on your computer and stuff. Then I think the iPad Pro is good for just the standard media consumption, web browsing, video watching, stuff like that. So yeah, and it has built-in LTE as well, 4:3 aspect ratio, so there's good things about it, and it is really small and portable. So I like the iPad Pro for traveling. It's basically my main travel companion now. And yeah, I think it does replace an Ultrabook in most of the situations when I go abroad. So that's a 10.5-inch iPad Pro right here. Alright, so up to the next biggest display size, we have the 11-inch HP EliteBook Revolve 810. This is the second generation. And this is also a convertible laptop right here. And I believe this one runs Windows 7 right now. What's special about this one is not only its compact size in build quality, but also the fact that it's convertible, and it's got this traditional twisting hinge right here, which is what convertibles used to use back in the day. This was back when, remember when Windows PCs first started becoming convertible. It wasn't until the early 2000s, mid-2000s-ish, Microsoft started experimenting with a lot of different laptop designs, and the convertible form factor, this twisting convertible form factor is actually quite old, and I actually had a computer with this kind of twisting design in the mid-2000s. So this is the old form factor. It's been around long before the iPad, and this is one of the old school ones. So yep, this is the HP EliteBook Revolve, and uses this old school twisting design, which is kind of cool. And one advantage of this design, by the way, that the yoga type of convertible doesn't have is the fact that you can slide it like this and put it halfway. And say you want to have something to show to your friend right here. So, oh, I'm watching a movie, or I have a document or presentation right here, and I want to show my friend. I just quickly twist it like this and say, hey, you can see it right here? Oh, that's so cool. Okay, and you can just twist it back like that. That's not something you can do easily with the yoga convertible design, which is the most popular type of convertible design these days. But it's something you can do with the twist design, which is what makes it unique. So yeah, this is the 11-inch. This is just standard resolution, but yeah, 11-inch HP EliteBook Revolve 810 from 2014, I believe. Yep, it's got a lot of good ports too. So It's another reason why I like it. It's so small, it's got tons of ports. Alright, next up we have the 12-incher. So 12-incher, we have the ThinkPad. This is the ThinkPad X61. This is an old school laptop. This is from 2007, I believe. So I actually have to unlatch this display first. It's not that easy to open with one hand, but here you go. Alright, and this uses an old school keyboard. This is one of the really old school ThinkPads, and I have this running Windows XP right now, and use this computer basically if I want to do a lot of retro things. And even the typing and stuff, I would probably still use this computer in modern day because the keyboard is so good. Like this keyboard, the travel is so much better than modern laptops because the chassis is thicker, so there's more room for the keys to press down. So in plus a 7-row keyboard, you have basically everything. I mean, look, the pause break key. How many keyboards, modern keyboards, have a pause break key? I mean, I know that a lot of people don't use the pause break key anymore, but the fact that it has it is pretty impressive. And the scroll lock, right? That's another one. How many computers have scroll lock still? And dedicated buttons for almost everything. So, yeah, this is ThinkPad X61. It's got the old school 4:3 aspect ratio here, which makes it actually a lot more portable, and you can read web pages and documents very well. So it's good for doing business as well. And of course, you got the classic track point in the middle. No trackpad, by the way, and I don't really use trackpad that much these days. So yeah, this is a gorgeous keyboard. I think this is the best keyboard I've ever seen on a laptop still. And yeah, the X61 keyboard is just fantastic. So yeah, this is the ThinkPad X61 for old school stuff. Alright, next up we have, this is actually a 13-inch by the way, but it's in a 12-inch body, so that's why I put it here. This is the Dell Latitude 7370, aka the 7000 series for the 13-inch, and this is a pretty nice laptop as well. I have it running Ubuntu Linux right now. Originally shipped with Windows 10 though. I skinned it, so it has a nice looking skin right here, and no fingerprint reader though. That's why this thing looks a little bit odd. That's for the fingerprint reader. The keyboard is probably one of the better ones. It's not as good as the ThinkPad, but it's probably, I would say, the second best after the ThinkPad series. The keyboard is quite, yeah, it's quite tactile, which is what I like. Decent amount of travel and feedback. So I would consider this the second best keyboard you can get on a laptop, in the modern day laptop, aside from the ThinkPad. So the second best chiclet keyboard you can get probably. I really like it. Yeah. So and it has this Infinity Edge display, which is why it can fit a 13-inch inside a 12-inch body. It's got this Infinity Edge display right here, so you barely see any bezels. However, the downside is the webcam is placed right here. And oh, by the way, this one doesn't have a webcam, but it does have a ThinkLight, which is up there. Yeah, this one, yeah, webcam is right here, so it's kind of an awkward position, but the bezels are slim, so it looks really, really modern. So, anyways, this is a good one for traveling and stuff because it only weighs 2.5 pounds, and it's really, really solid. It is a solid laptop, and it has Thunderbolt 3 and all those modern ports and stuff. So, it's a pretty nice one for traveling. I still pick my iPad Pro. However, if you want to do desktop stuff, this one's not a desktop OS stuff. This one's not a bad choice. All right, next up we have another 12-incher, and this is another old one. You can tell it's kind of banged up and stuff. This is from by the way, this one's from 2016. This one is from 2013 actually. Really old. I got this way back. That's why it's so banged up. Yeah, I got this way back 4 years ago, so that's why it looks really roughed up. But it's a Lenovo ThinkPad X240, a more modern style ThinkPad keyboard, which is not as good as the X61. You can see the X61 style is more old school, more retro. More importantly though, the keys have more feedback and there's more of them. Whereas this one, they reduced the number of keys and lowered the number of lowered the travel on it, and the reason is because this chassis is a lot slimmer. In order to slim down the chassis, they had to reduce the travel on the keys, which, you know, is for ThinkPad users, a lot of ThinkPad users, we would rather prefer a better keyboard than a slimmer chassis, because like we're not the mainstream consumer, right? The mainstream consumer prefers slimmer chassis, more sexier design or whatever. But for productivity, we don't care how thick the computer really is, but we want to have a good keyboard. And if the keyboard has more travel and stuff, but the chassis is thicker, then that's fine, I think. We don't need to have a super slim chassis. It's not really, yeah, it's not really a big deal to business users. But anyways, that's what Lenovo did. So anyways, that's what they did. And this is the first model in which the full kind of this kind of keyboard appeared. I think the X240 had it too as well, but this is like the transition is complete, you know. And they also removed the trackpad and track point buttons here. You can see trackpad and track point all gone. And this is a huge problem right now, right? So this one is, I'm used to using the old school buttons here when you're moving the nub, right? Now when you move the nub, it's like you have no reference here. You have no reference of where to put your fingers, and it just doesn't feel as good. You know, you want that tactile kind of feedback. But thankfully, Lenovo only made a change for this model, and the next year they reverted back to the physical track point buttons. And you'll see that in the next one. However, this is the last model series they put a VGA port in. So that's one thing. All the remaining models, they switched out the VGA port for an HDMI, which is more modern, but perhaps not as useful for some business users who use old projectors and stuff. But yeah, this is a 12-inch Lenovo X240 from 2013. Alright, and next, actually let's go to this, the 13-inch instead. These are all 14-inch laptops here. This is the 2016 MacBook Pro 13. And this is a laptop that really polarizes a lot of people, including myself. The reason why is because, first of all, this keyboard is really, really shallow, and this uses the Apple 2nd generation butterfly switches, and it's so shallow. Like, I think it has like 0.5 millimeters of travel on it, which makes it pretty much the polar opposite of the ThinkPad keyboard. This one has the most travel, the most tactile feedback. This one has the least. And yeah, that's a really bad thing. You don't get the sensation of actually typing on a keyboard here. However, I can say that this keyboard is more accurate than any other laptop keyboard I've used. So I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it, which I'm sure a lot of people do. This keyboard is very, very accurate. I make very few typing mistakes. I don't have to press backspace as often. I don't make as many typos. However, the feeling of typing on this keyboard is not great because the travel is so shallow. So yeah, it's kind of a love-hate relationship. I don't know really I don't really know what to say about it other than I use it. It works. It's very, very accurate, but I don't like using it. And the trackpad is enormous. It's not even a real trackpad per se because it's not a physical, nothing physical going on here. This is like a haptic engine or something, a taptic engine or whatever producing this sort of click. So it's not even a real physical trackpad. And the lack of ports. This only has 2 Thunderbolt 3 and 1 headphone jack, and that's literally all the ports on it. And what I can say about this notebook is I mainly use this for programming because macOS is better for programming, and I use this for Final Cut Pro. But other than that, I would rather not use this notebook because to me, this notebook, this MacBook Pro right here, is, even though it says MacBook Pro, it's actually more of a MacBook Air. Like, I don't know what Apple was thinking, because this notebook is more for consumers than for professionals. Like, professionals, we want a keyboard with more tactile feedback and more travel. We want more ports. Just 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports is ridiculous, because say I want to plug in a USB mouse, right? I just want to plug in a simple mouse. Well, I have to connect a USB-C hub up to this, then plug in my USB 3 mouse. How ridiculous is that, right? Or I have to use a Bluetooth mouse, which I don't like to do. So yeah, either you had to plug in a USB-C hub to use your normal mouse, or you had to connect a wireless mouse, you know, with all the hassle of pairing that. So that's really annoying. Yeah, this is basically made for consumers. I would say this is not a MacBook Pro. This is just an upgraded MacBook Air. That's it. It's got a wider color gamut. The display is better. It's the Super Retina display, whatever, with brighter colors and stuff. The wider trackpad, better audio quality from the speakers, louder, and thinner and lighter, of course, which I already said that business users, we only don't care about that stuff. That's for consumers, right? So this is a consumer laptop. I don't know why Apple made this for professionals. It's not a MacBook Pro. Like, we need more ports and stuff on it. This is just a MacBook Air to me. Because all the upgrades on this laptop, the 2016 model, you're better off with the 2015 model if you want an actual MacBook Pro. This is a consumer laptop. Anyways, enough ranting about the MacBook Pro. Let's get on. If it wasn't for programming, I would not be using this one. Yeah, let's get on to the best display. This is probably the second best display on a laptop right now. The best display on a laptop is the X1 Yoga OLED, the ThinkPad X1 Yoga OLED, and this one also has a skin on it. Here we go. This is the other convertible form factor, the Yoga convertible form factor, but not only that, but the display is freaking gorgeous. I mean, look at that, right? That's such a beautiful display with wide color gamut, and OLED just gives you such vibrant colors, I think. And I say, yeah, the MacBook Pro, which is a consumer laptop, by the way, and the X1 Yoga OLED, well, I guess you can also call this one more of a consumer laptop, but at least they have a really good keyboard and lots of ports. This is the best display on the laptop right now. And still, this is a 2016 model. This is the first generation. Still, 1 year later, I have not seen any other laptop maker make a better display than this. So it's kept up. It's a 1440p OLED display, and still no other laptop makers have made one. So pretty interesting there. The keyboard here is probably the best you can get on a laptop, modern laptop these days. So the Latitude probably has the second best keyboard, but this is the best keyboard. This chiclet keyboard, which I already said is not as good as this keyboard. However, it is still the best keyboard you can get on a modern laptop, because pretty much every laptop here has a chiclet keyboard, except for the Alienware. I think pretty much all the other modern laptops have it. So no choice there. But if you want a good chiclet keyboard, then this is probably the best. It's got physical track point buttons. Like I said, Lenovo realized they made a mistake with the X240, and they had to change back the track point buttons to physical track point buttons, which is a lot better. Fingerprint reader. It's got tons of ports. It's got HDMI, mini display port, probably everything you need, and it's in many ways just a much better MacBook Pro. So if you guys are looking for a actual professional computer, avoid this laptop. This is a consumer laptop, and if you don't need to program or anything like that, avoid this laptop. Go for this one. It's almost strictly better if you don't have to have Mac OS, right? It's got a much better keyboard. It's got way more ports. The display's OLED is actually better, and it's convertible on top of that. So yeah, it's just better than the MacBook Pro. So show you guys the convertible mode right here with one hand. All right, here we go. That's the convertible mode. And yeah, you can lay it flat like that. And this has advantages and disadvantages. Like I said, the twisted design lets you just like swivel around to show people. You can't do that with this kind of design. But it is convertible, and you can use it as a tablet. So I guess there's that, and you can leave it in stand mode, which is something this one can do. I guess the reason why this one is not as popular anymore is because there's one pivot hinge right here, and it's not as strong as the dual hinges right here at the bottom. For the Yoga design, you have two hinges, I guess, which makes it stronger and therefore more durable. So I guess that's why the industry went with this design. Anyways, that's the ThinkPad X1 Yoga. It's a great business machine. It's also a great consumer machine as well. I just think this is a great all-around machine. If you're looking for a good Ultrabook, then this one pretty much checks everything off the list. Great display, keyboard, ports, everything. Okay, and then next we have the Dell D600, also 14-inch. This is a 14-inch, by the way, and this one also 14-inch, but it's from 2003, so it's a really old one. This one's a display latch, so there we go. All right, and this one, the reason why I have it is for Windows 98, basically. Some of my retro devices require a Windows 9X machine to load the drivers onto it. Like recently did a video on the Cyberco Extreme, and on the Cyberco Extreme, you need to have a Windows 98 operating system in order to install the drivers onto that. So yeah, this is basically my Windows 98 computer right here. You can also run XP. 4:3 display, of course, that was standard back then. And you have full 7-row keyboard. That was also quite common back then. Very similar to the ThinkPad X61 keyboard, by the way. It's got the dedicated buttons here for volume. Very, very nice feedback and travel. Not quite as good as the ThinkPad, but almost. Track point right here, dedicated buttons for trackpad as well as track point, and lots of ports. It has the usual ports, I guess, back then: parallel, serial, modem, etc. So yeah, this is basically my retro notebook right here. It's a Dell Latitude D600 from 2003. It's Pentium M processor. This is before dual-core processors were available. So yeah, nice keyboard, good laptop, good display. I wish we had a modern laptop with these kind of features. Well, the next laptop tries to do some of that. It tries to be a modern laptop with retro features. Doesn't quite succeed, but almost. And this laptop is the ThinkPad TP25. It's the ThinkPad 25th Anniversary Edition. You can tell the keyboard 7-row retro keyboard style as the Latitude and the X61. It's actually better than the X61 though, because the X61 uses, I would say, more flimsier buttons for this ThinkVantage stuff. The dedicated volume, they use flimsier buttons, but for the TP25, these more rounded buttons, I like them better. However, the travel isn't quite as good as on the older laptops, and the reason for that is because this chassis is thinner. Because this is a specially limited edition made machine, Lenovo couldn't source special parts for it, and we couldn't make an entire new chassis for it. So basically, they just designed a keyboard, this old school 7-row retro keyboard, and fit it into a more modern chassis, and that's why the travel isn't quite as good. But it's still much better than the chiclet style. Like, this is much better than this style, right? This is the modern Lenovo chiclet style, ThinkPad chiclet style, but I would say the price premium you pay for this is probably worth it, just for the fact that you get so many dedicated buttons. You get an actual pause button, scroll lock button for people who like that, and the keyboard, just the feedback is better. It's better to type on. I even like the caps lock. Look, the caps lock light right here. It's just so cool, right? The old school caps lock light. Actually, this one doesn't even have a light. Yeah, so this one doesn't even have one. The X1 Yoga, I believe, has a small light right here. Yeah, this light, yeah, really cool. So yeah, this is TP25, and it has all the ports you would expect. HDMI, Thunderbolt 3, has dedicated graphics, which is the 940MX, which is in mid-range, I guess. It's not too great, but it's mid-range. And yeah, this is a general purpose, great machine. I wish the display was a little bit better. It's not the OLED display or anything from the X1 Yoga, so the display isn't quite that good. But the keyboard, this is the best keyboard you can get on a modern laptop these days, and it's only available on this machine. Alright, so it's got a great keyboard, and it's got a retro tricolor logo right here to remind people that this used to be IBM branded, so it's pretty cool. Anyways, this computer is from 2017, so this is actually my newest computer, despite the fact that it looks kind of old school. Alright, let's move on to 15 inches now. Right, and this is a 15-inch workstation. It's got a display latch, so I have to do this with one hand. Alright, and this is the Dell Precision M4800 from 2013. Yeah, it's actually not that old, even though it looks really old school. I like this computer because it has a full keyboard right here with the 10-key numpad right here, and the keys are really old school. They're not chiclet style. They're really old school keypad right here. You've got physical buttons for the trackpad, physical buttons for the touchpad as well. Lots of status and indicator lights, dedicated volume buttons right here, display latch. The fact that it has so many ports, it has actually 16 ports in total, including an express card slot. It's got an actual express card slot right here and a DVD drive right here. Yep, so there's a DVD drive here, express card slot, along with a slew of other ports here. There's 16 ports in total, which is ridiculous. And full-size HDMI, full-size SD, full-size VGA, Ethernet, DisplayPort, pretty much everything you can ask for. So yeah, that's the Dell Precision M4800 right here. Really cool old school laptop. It's got a pretty nice CPU in it as well. I think it's an i7 M4800 i7-4800MQ, which is one of the better mobile processors of its generation. But the GPU isn't as good. I think it's AMD FirePro M5100, which is only equivalent to about a 750 back then, a GTX 750. So yeah, the graphics card doesn't really hold up. The CPU does hold up though, it's still quad core. So yeah, Dell Precision M4800, 15-inch workstation, really retro, ports up the ass, pretty much everything you want. Alright, and next up we have the Alienware 15, which is actually quite bulky for a 15-inch. It's a lot bigger than most 15-inches are. And yeah, this computer, you know, you can see that it has Alien FX, so it has all the RGB lighting, good stuff like that. Like I said, this is one of the only modern brands that still use the old school keyboard design, non-chiclet style. And I like that. I like non-chiclet style. This is similar to what was used in the Dell Precision, except Dell has changed the Precision to using chiclet style now. They haven't changed their Alienware to using chiclet style though, which is good. Yep, you got the light up blue color right here. You can set it manually. It's whatever you want. But yeah, this is my most powerful computer. It has a GTX 1070 graphics card on it, and the processor is an i7-6700HQ quad core, 16 gigs of RAM, and 2 terabytes of solid state drive. So this is my most powerful computer, even though it's not really my newest. My newest is the ThinkPad 25. But yeah, this one's definitely my most powerful. So this is the one I use for gaming, driving my games, virtual reality, pretty much everything that's really processor or graphics intensive, I use this computer for. And yeah, it's the Alienware 15. It's really kind of heavy for a 15-incher though. It's like 7.5 pounds, I believe, and which is actually more heavier than the Dell Precision. Lastly, yeah, my heaviest and biggest computer is my Asus G751. It's a massive 17-inch computer. So yeah, this one is 17-inch, full keyboard right here. Apologize about the dirtiness because I didn't really wash this keyboard. I use an external keyboard with this usually. But yeah, this is a full keyboard right here with a 10-key numpad. Most gaming laptops have this actually, except for the Alienware that doesn't have it. But this one has full 10 key numpad right here. This is my old gaming computer. It's now my primary workstation computer, and yeah, my Dell Precision is actually my workstation as well. But this one also does a lot of good work because it has a Core i7 quad-core processor as well, pretty much the same one that was in my Dell Precision. And on top of that, it has the GTX 970M, which makes it a good secondary gaming computer as well. 970M isn't as powerful as the 1070, of course, but it can still run a lot of games, and has G-Sync and everything. Both of these have G-Sync, by the way, but this one's 120Hz display, but it's also TN panel, so it's kind of a trade-off. This one's IPS, but it's not 120Hz. And yeah, it's my secondary gaming computer and secondary workstation computer, I guess. And yeah, this one has a ton of ports as well, as you would expect from a 17-inch, but it's also my biggest and heaviest computer, so I don't really move this one around. As you can tell, I don't move around the Alienware 15 either, but at least it's somewhat luggable. This one is a 9.5 pound machine, which makes it a really big hassle to carry it. But this is basically my desktop replacement. 17 inches though is really nice for viewing. You know, it's got a huge viewing angle and a lot of screen space, so it's good. Anyways, guys, that's my laptop collection right here. You can see all 11 laptops right here. Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah, so except for my iPad Pro, because I couldn't leave it open like this. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, I have the whole range of laptops ranging from small, light, ultra portables to retro machines, to convertibles, to gaming machines and workstations. I pretty much have the whole party right here. So let me know if you guys have any questions, or you want any recommendations for laptops. I can give you guys my recommendations because I did a lot of research before I bought any of these. So yeah, so let me know in the comments. Leave a like and subscribe if you like these kind of videos. And that's it. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.